Thank you for joining me on 13 Plus. I'm Cali Lichter, and this is On the Docket, a weekly recap of crime and court in and around the state of Michigan. This week, charges filed in a fight on a pond in Newaygo County. We have the video which captures it all on camera. And a man our help team has been looking into for months is facing a case from the state's top attorney. All that and more is On the Docket. Two school employees and a township trustee from Newaygo County are facing criminal charges related to a confrontation that happened in June. Authorities say it started over a baby who witnesses claim was left unattended on a pontoon boat.
I'm worried about the child.
I don't care what you think.
This video, seen over 130,000 times on Facebook, shows an altercation on Croton Dam Pond in Newaygo County back in June. 5 people are now facing assault and child abuse charges, including 2 Newaygo Public Schools employees and a Brooks Township trustee.
Hey, no, bring it down here.
A witness who asked to not be named says he and a few others were boating on Croton on June 22nd and went to a beach to look for rocks. There, he says they saw a child in a car seat on a boat, quote, roughly 30 yards from any adult who was responsible for it. He goes on to say they started looking for the child's parents. When a parent was found, the altercation in the video starts.
Get out of here.
The witness says the people from the other boat started yelling at him and his friends, threatening to fight and beat them up and threatening their lives. 5 people allegedly in the video were arrested last week. Newaygo Public Schools elementary teacher Victoria Schultz is facing 1 count of 4th-degree child abuse for leaving an infant child alone on a boat without proper supervision. Her husband, NPS bus garage director Brandon Schultz, is facing that same child abuse charge along with 3 assault and battery charges. Brooks Township trustee Ryan Schultz is facing 1 count of assault and battery along with Christopher Schultz. And Rick Mail is facing 2 assault and battery charges. All charges are misdemeanors. 13 on Your Side reached out to both Newaygo Public Schools and Brooks Township. MPS says they were made aware of the off-campus incident this summer and have been cooperating with Michigan State Police and has initiated its own investigation. Both employees are on paid administrative leave. Brooks Township Supervisor Corey Nelson said in part that this is not a matter of the township. As far as township business is concerned, Mr. Schultz has represented his constituents with honor and dignity.
A Lakeshore High School football player is recovering after what some are calling a reckless play on the field. The teen's spine was severely fractured after a Kalamazoo Central High School football player jumped on him after a tackle. Francesca Onofrio has what we know.
This video may be disturbing to some. You can see the moment the player wearing number 73, who plays for Kalamazoo Central, jumps on the Lakeshore player. The video was taken by Mims, recounting her reaction after seeing her son was injured.
First was like, is that my son? And as soon as it clicked that it was, I couldn't be stopped. I had to go down there. I've never felt anything like it. I've never been as upset or shaken up as I was over something for my son.
Her son was brought to the hospital where they found he has a broken spine in 2 places. He was released from the hospital and is now recovering at home.
He's out at least for this season. We don't know if he's going to be able to play again. He should and will make a full recovery.
Mims wants to raise awareness for potential dangerous plays.
Boys are high school boys. They're 15 years old. The game means a lot to them. It's their whole life right now. They're there from before I get up to go to work in the morning till after dinner, putting in the work. And for somebody to try to take that from somebody doing so much is awful for me to see.
I reached out to the Michigan High School Athletic Association regarding any potential disciplinary action against the student. Communications director sharing, quote, "We are aware of the situation you're describing. We talked to both schools and they are resolving this issue internally." Lakeshore school leaders responded, "We can't share any information at this time other than that we are working with the other school about this situation."
In a statement, district officials with Kalamazoo Central say the student's behavior has been addressed. However, they did not go into detail on what those consequences are. A lot of sheriff's deputies and other law enforcement officers were called to several credit unions and a school district in Montcalm County. The incidents were fake swatting calls. We were able to speak to Tri-County Schools, who says this was a fictitious swatting call. Superintendent Ryan Biller says the school district got a phone call with a potential threat behind it. A soft lockdown was ordered, where students were kept inside and access in and out of the building was restricted. He says staff acted quickly to contact authorities, and Montcalm Sheriff's deputies, Michigan State Police, and canines were able to clear the building. Biller says having these fake swatting calls disrupts learning, but they would rather be safe than sorry when assessing a threat.
Everything flows through our office area, which has secure entrances, and those doors are locked throughout the day. So we do have a buzzing system where we allow people to come in, and there's a process to how we do school now. And unfortunately, having all the safety protocols is just one more thing. And just very proud of my threat assessment team on campus, as well as law enforcement, to get to the bottom of this very quickly.
On the same day in Montcalm County, on September 24th, the Montcalm County Sheriff's Office says Community First Federal Credit Union was also targeted with a false bomb threat. They determined the threat to be not credible. The Sheriff's Department says these incidents remain under investigation, and they have reason to believe the threats are related. An update to a story we first told you about last time on the docket. We now know the name of an Allegan County man facing charges for the fire that destroyed the Northside Park Playground in Otsego. Police tell us 37-year-old Michael Kilborn, who was already in the Allegan County Jail on separate charges, is now tied to this case. At the time he was arrested, the estimated cost to fix and rebuild the playground structure was over $45,000. Kilborn is facing several charges in connection to the fire, including third-degree arson and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. A minor has also been charged with third-degree arson, but police are not releasing their name. Court documents also detail some of the alleged circumstances surrounding the scene and these charges. As police reviewed camera footage, Kilborn was one of two subjects documents say were identified. Talking with police, another person whose name was redacted from the documents allegedly said he did start the fire with Kilborn. Kilborn allegedly told a redacted name to stuff clothing between the wooden structure and allegedly instructed the minor to set them on fire with a torch. Kilborn was handed a $200,000 bond, and if you have any information about the fire, call the Otsego Police Department or Silent Observer. A Grand Rapids neighborhood is a crime scene after a man was shot by Grand Rapids police. Michigan State Police are investigating this officer-involved shooting, which is GRPD policy, and we're told the situation stemmed from a domestic incident involving a person and a knife. GRPD Chief Eric Winstrom says officers were dispatched to the 600 block of Broadway for a domestic situation where family members wanted a man out of the home who was armed with a knife. When officers arrived, GRPD says the man charged at them with that knife. The officers deployed two tasers, both of which were ineffective, and the man got up. That's when Chief Winstrom says officers fired multiple shots, hitting the man. GRPD says they negotiated for more than 15 minutes. Their junior side spoke to a family member of the man who did not want to be on camera. He says his family member was going through a mental health crisis, and they just wanted him out of the home. He says officers, quote, gave him so many chances to leave as force was escalated. He says after the tasers, his family member was able to get off of the ground, grab the knife, and started to run, with the family member saying he was shot in the leg, calf, and arm. Chief Winstrom says the first thing they were concerned about was if the man would be okay.
You don't know if there's a mental health component involved. You don't know what's going on in this individual's life. So first thing that I know the officers were thinking about and that I was thinking driving over here was I hope that this individual is going to be able to make a recovery. I hope this is just something that will be, a very, very painful, obviously, learning experience, and there'll be the criminal justice process to go through.
Winstrom says the two officers who fired their guns are on administrative leave pending the Michigan State Police investigation. The family member and Winstrom say the man is in serious condition but is expected to survive. And this is an ongoing situation. We'll bring you updates on air and online as we get them. Next on the docket, we speak to a family who are reminding drivers red means stop after their son was hit and injured by a car. And our help team looks into a case against a lawn care business brought on by Dana Nessel. An 11-year-old is recovering after being hit by a car trying to cross US 31. He was on his way from school when police say a driver ran a red light. Now the boy's parents are trying to do their best to make sure it doesn't happen again.
For 6th grader Elliot Blair, Crossing US 31 on Taylor is the way he's always crossed the street after school. But on September 23rd...
And then I had gotten a call from Matt, and he had said that, he's like, do you know what's going on with Elliot? He was in an accident.
The Grand Haven Department of Public Safety says Elliot was hit by a car traveling northbound that ran a red light.
Driving upon the scene was very, very scary. He was on the ground with a whole crew of people around him, and he had one of those cervical collars on, and they had to cut his shirt off of him.
Elliot's mom, Ashley Bremen, says Elliot doesn't remember the accident, but he has a fractured pelvis, and the driver was going fast enough to knock off one of his shoes.
I had to drive through it today, bringing my other kids to school, and it immediately put me into tears. We're very thankful that his injuries are not as bad as what they could be.
After posting about his accident on Facebook, Bremen and Elliot's stepfather, Matthew Gibbs, say they've learned of other accidents that have happened at the same intersection, something they're hoping to change by wearing Elliot's favorite color, red.
Also, it goes along with red means stop. Every year on September 23rd, we'll wear red to honor Elliot and all the other kids and people who have been hit at that intersection. Hopefully they can, get longer crosswalk times or maybe some more signage.
Gibbs would also like to see light up crosswalk signals.
Something like that would be really beneficial, just so somebody can just push the button and then make them so people know that there's somebody crossing and it's bright and the lights are flashing and people know.
The Grand Haven Department of Public Safety says the driver, a 28-year-old from Hudsonville, was cited for the accident.
It's been 7 years since Kristen Young's daughter, Ashley, was killed in Grand Rapids by someone she thought was her friend. Even after her daughter's killer was sentenced to more than 100 years in prison, Young is still fighting to tell her daughter's story. Our Lauren Baker has more on Ashley Young and the reason her case is being covered on a crime TV show.
Time may go by, but for Kristen Young,
you never forget. You wake up and you go to bed thinking about it.
the pain remains the same.
If Ashley did nothing wrong, why did you kill her? Why did you take her?
Her daughter, Ashley Young, who she describes as a bright and caring woman, was killed in 2018.
She would do anything for anyone, whether she knew them or not.
Tragically, Young says her daughter's life was cut short by someone she considered a friend.
Usually, spots on a leopard don't change.
Young says before Ashley's murder, she and Jared Chance had reconnected after Young says Chance broke into Ashley's apartment and stole her medication and money. Young says her daughter didn't want to believe Chance did this and even wanted to help him change his life. But Young says her gut told her otherwise.
I never got a good feeling. It was like it wasn't right. There was something that just wasn't connecting.
Shortly after the two reconnected, Ashley was murdered, and her torso was found in Chase's basement. He was convicted for Ashley's murder and sentenced to 100 to 200 years. But even with Chance behind bars, Young still wants to know why.
I want to know where the rest of my daughter is. I want her to come home. I want to be able to have Ashley all together. And the other question is why? What did Ashley do that would cause you to take her life?
That's why she's continuing to tell her daughter's story on a new episode of Body in the Basement on Investigation Discovery. It's all in hopes that Young will not only find the remainder of Ashley's body, but also someone will come forward with more answers.
I know more people know something. I want somebody to come forward and say, this is what I know.
Lauren Chance's parents were also convicted. His mother, Barbara, was convicted of perjury and for being an accessory after the fact to a felony. His father, James, was also convicted of being an accessory after the fact to a felony. They both received jail time and probation back in 2020. Kent City landscaper Aaron Colton. It's a story our Help Team reporter Micah Cho has been following for months. He's now being sued by the state attorney general for fraudulent business practices.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
While he never answered our phone call, Aaron Colton may soon have to answer to the state of Michigan for alleged bad business practices under his business, Colton's Lawn Care and Landscaping. Earlier this month, Aaron and his wife Leslie were served with an antitrust lawsuit by the state attorney general's office after several complaints accusing Aaron of taking money for work, like lawn mowing or pool installations, not finishing, and then ignoring customers when they asked for a refund. Dan Hansen, who we talked to last year, says he had a similar experience. Colton allegedly stopped showing up to mow his lawn, then refused to issue him a refund.
It's amazing news, in my opinion. Hopefully this is the end of his scam, the end of his ability to continue with these scams.
Court documents don't go into specific detail about Leslie Colton's involvement, but Hansen says he's talked with her before.
When I had conversations with them back when I was doing business, it was his wife that we were communicating with, not necessarily Aaron directly. I'm glad that that both are being looked into per this case.
The state AG's office also hopes to recoup money for at least 3 of his victims, with possibly more to come, according to the documents. In a statement about Colton's Lawn Care and Landscaping, Attorney General Dana Nessel said, quote, "Companies cannot fail to provide the services they promised after accepting deposits or ignore rightful requests for refunds. My office will hold businesses accountable for engaging in these unfair practices." And for Hansen, he hopes the newest action by the state will keep others safe.
The statewide coverage, that should really put a damper on his operation, at least here in Michigan. And that makes me very happy.
According to court records, Colton has warrants in Ottawa and Muskegon counties related to his business practices. The latter, I'm going to redo that, okay. According to court records, Colton has warrants in Ottawa and Muskegon counties related to his business practices. The latter is a felony. He also has an active warrant in Kent County as well as one in Puyallup, Washington. That one is not related to any business practices. Next on the docket, we dive deeper into a bill that could criminalize protesting. And the Kent County Sheriff's Office says they want to work smarter to solve crime across the county using technology to have more eyes on the street. Michigan House lawmakers this week voted to pass a bill that could criminalize many protests on highways in the state. It doesn't use the word protest, though those could certainly fall in the scope of the word it does use, assemblies. Those assemblies on highways would be criminalized if they block, obstruct, impede, or otherwise interfere with the normal flow of traffic. That's already prohibited under state law, but right now it's a civil infraction, not a crime. This would make doing so a misdemeanor with punishments of up to 93 days in jail, a $5,000 fine, or both. And this only applies to highways. We spoke with a local activist, a county commissioner, and the lawmaker behind the bill to get their thoughts.
I think that it would have a chilling effect on not only protests, but it would also have a chilling effect over Americans, the community, period.
When I saw it and I saw the $5,000 fine, the 93 days in jail, I knew it was used not only to try to scare a young generation from using their First Amendment speech, but to go to their hardline supporters and say, hey, we're squashing something that really doesn't need to be squashed.
Personally, I like to see other points of view. We all should, and be open-minded. But when somebody's right ends, when another person's right begins, that's just not right.
Originally, the bill limited the misdemeanor charge to offending assemblies of 10 or more people. That number limit was later removed. ICE, or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, could be expanding in West Michigan. The General Services Administration posted a solicitation last week for office space in support of law enforcement operations, including in Grand Rapids. This lease term in Grand Rapids would be 10 years. The posting doesn't specifically say what law enforcement operations those might be. However, according to reporting from NPR, 3 anonymous GSA employees said the agency had begun an effort to lease private offices to allow ICE officers to establish long-term workspace in cities where they operate. In West Michigan, GR Rapid Response to ICE posted on social media saying, quote, "The fact that ICE has probably decided to rent office space in Grand Rapids is a consequence of the Grand Rapids City Commission's refusal to adopt the sanctuary policies that Movimiento Cosecha and GR Rapid Response to ICE have been pushing for since the beginning of the year. It further demonstrates the city of Grand Rapids puts undocumented immigrants at greater risk. By not adopting sanctuary policies, that would make it harder for private entities to rent office space to ICE." And the Kent County Sheriff's Office says they want to work smarter to solve crime across the county, and they plan to use technology through a new program to have more eyes in the streets. The Kent County Sheriff's Office says they want to strengthen public safety countywide, so they're rethinking their use of technology in partnerships with the community. They're doing so through a new program called Connect Kent County. It was announced at Tuesday's State of the County address. Kent County Board Chair Ben Green says the program launched earlier this year and will allow businesses, institutions, and schools to register their existing surveillance cameras with the Sheriff's Office, allowing police to tap into the security camera feeds at any time. The program is powered by a state-of-the-art real-time intelligence center housed at the Sheriff's Office.
It brings together cutting-edge tools like live data monitoring, multi-jurisdictional mapping, license plate readers, and community-based video feeds to give law enforcement agencies across Kent County the ability to respond faster, work smarter, and coordinate more effectively.
Kent County Sheriff's Captain Joel Roon says Orlando, Florida, and Gary, Indiana are other cities with similar programs, saying he wants the Sheriff's Office to work smarter in cracking down on crime in the county. In the coming months, the Sheriff's Office will launch a website where the public can learn more about Connect Kent County, with a full launch by the end of the year. For more on statewide and nationwide politics, you can watch the latest episode of The Rundown, Last Week in Michigan Politics, also streaming now on our 13 Plus app. Thanks for joining me in this episode of On the Docket on 13 Plus. We have new episodes releasing every week, taking you into the courtroom for the latest updates and deep dives on crime in and around West Michigan. In the meantime, we'll bring you the latest on crime in court, both on air and online at 13onyourside.com. And when breaking news affects you and your community, we stream live on 13 Plus with what you need to know right when you need to know. We'll see you next time with updates on what's on the docket.